Oh, they call him the crypto father, the hardest working man in the game, no other. Bringing on this.
Welcome back to the Crypto Father channel. Today is the 8th of May. It's been 24 hours since the release of the Tari mainnet, and so that's been 24 hours of me mining on the Tari mainnet. So I'm going to show you today what the results are and talk a little bit about what the potentials are and answer a couple of questions and suggest some possibilities, because there's some people who are apparently struggling with mining some Tari. So let's do all that. But before we go into the Tari app, let's have a quick look at the crypto charts and look at Bitcoin charts, at the crypto prices rather, and the crypto market and Bitcoin charts. Right now we are sitting at $3.08 trillion. Nothing's changed since yesterday, I think, with the exception of things having turned green finally. $119 billion in trading volume. Bitcoin at $96,000. That's nice. Ethereum back up to 1,800. The Pectra upgrade is now live. Not sure if that makes any difference or not. I guess price pumped a little bit to above 1,800, so that's nice. BNB still below 600. It's teetering on the verge of breaking above that. Solana $146. Cardano 66 cents, bit of a retracement of 3.1 on the 3.1% on the 7-day. Sui $3.29, HBAR 17 cents, Toncoin at $3 flat, Litecoin at $88, Polkadot $3.92, and Pi Network at 58. Quick look at Meowcoin. Meowcoin hasn't changed much, price wise same, and market cap at $500,000 as it was. On the Bitcoin charts, Bitcoin is right now testing the resistance at $97,000. If Bitcoin were to break above that resistance, I think we would see a nice upside. The moving averages are beginning to bend upwards. The 200 MA is going up, and obviously Bitcoin's trading above that. 20-day moving average has broken above the 200 MA moving average, and the 50 and 100 are still below, but slowly moving upwards. So I guess we're gonna have to wait and see what happens over the next couple of days. Discord is a buzz. The Tari network Discord is a buzz. There's a lot of excitement. People are complaining. People are reporting issues. Not everybody is getting their smacks in. Not everybody's miners are working properly. On Telegram, there is a discussion going on right now about the GPUs and CPUs. Which ones are better? Which ones produce better yields? But in my humble experience, it really doesn't matter. Some people are saying that the CPUs are producing better yields. Obviously GPUs are a little bit more powerful. They simply produce a lot more hash. If you do have a powerful CPU, then obviously that's a different story. But so this is my experience here. My CPU produces 1.74 thousand hash per second, and the GPU 53.18. I have no idea if that's million hash per second. The estimates are as follows here. Estimates on earnings are 26, so it fluctuates. It just went up. The CPU power dropped, but it bumped up again. Okay, CPU estimates earnings are 28 XTM per day, while the GPU estimates are 116, 114 XTM per day. And of course, they fluctuate based on the fluctuations in the hashing power. So my overall prediction is here at 122 XTM per day. And again, if you are not using a computer, if it's just sitting there idly and the CPU and GPU are occupied by Tari, then of course your estimates will be higher. If you are using a computer like I am using it right now, I'm taking up some of the CPU and GPU power in order to use the computer, so obviously that drops. And so my results are indicated below, as you can see right here. We went from yesterday, the very low. So basically, this is the main net. May 7th, it started 242. That's when I started mining. I'm not sure if it's the same time. I think, whatever the case. So the mainnet launched on the 6th at 5 a.m. I'm not sure why the delay is. I'm also at a different time zone. So in any case, it started off with 5 XTM and it kind of stayed at that level pretty consistently. yesterday there were only 9,000, below 10,000 miners online. Right now there are a little bit more people, which would suggest that the yields would drop. However, that was not the case. The yields actually bumped up drastically on my end for some strange reason. I think they released an update. I believe some release notes here came out, and they said that it's official. We are now in day 2 of Tari mainnet. Contributors are learning a lot network. Our goal is to create a world where as many miners as possible are able to win frequently via P2 pool. To achieve this outcome, we need to continuously tune the system. This update is a P2 pool tuning update. Thank you for being Tari. Oh geez, more updates. Share window reduced from 12 hours to 6. Shared chain shortened from 2160 to 1080. The 102 update ran into an issue connecting to P2 pool peers. We underestimated how long DNS would take to propagate our public nodes. The good news, the P2 pool network is stabilizing and miners should autocorrect within 30-60 minutes. So there is an update that's been released, and I guess it's working its magic, because like I said, the yields have jumped up drastically. So it went from 4 XTM per block to 19, then 18, 17, and as in some cases as high as 28 XTM per block. So that's pretty sweet. These are the new ones right here. So this is from today, just a couple of minutes ago, I think. 6:03. So right now it's 6:35. So this is literally like 32 minutes ago. So that's what's happening on my end. And so when somebody says some of the numbers that people indicated here, somebody posted a picture right here with 2.65 hash per second. So this is a very, very low output compared to mine. And 966,000 hash per second. Mine is million per second. So my computer is not a very powerful one. I only have a 3070 RTX. So I'm surprised to see that people have even slower lower computers. But so just to show you my specs here, let's go over here. Here are my specs. I'm running an NVIDIA GeForce RTX 3070. So this is what's producing the 53.63 million hash per second on my end, and my CPU is an AMD Ryzen 7 5800 X8 core processor. So this is this used to be mid-range. Right now it's kind of an outdated CPU already. It's an older CPU, but it's still doing very well. It's producing 4.41 gigahash right here, utilization at 85%. So these are my specs, and those are the outcomes that I'm producing with those specs. So that's not too bad. I am on pool mining. I'm not sure if there's solo mining or not. I have no idea. There was talk about that, and from what I understand, during the testnet there was no solo mining at all. Right now I guess solo mining may be possible, but to be honest, like when I was mining Meowcoin and I had a whole rig set up, and the only reason why I stopped mining is because the electricity costs in South Korea are ridiculous, and Meowcoin still unfortunately has not generated enough yield to cover the expenses that I incurred during that mining process. So I switched off and disassembled that rig, and I'm trying to sell off some of the GPUs. In any case, solo mining and pool mining are I'm not sure that there is a lot of benefit. If you are running a massive rig, then solo mining is way to go, because obviously your rewards are better. But if you are in a pool, even with a massive rig, if you are in a pool, because the number of blocks that is mined is just larger, there's a lot more blocks being mined, obviously, when there is a lot more hashing power. And so the rewards that are generated in a pool are distributed much faster at a much frequent rate, versus a solo miner where you're kind of gambling more. And so your reward is bigger, but it's less frequent than it would be in a pool. So essentially, the overall income that you're getting, or the overall results, the yields that you're getting from solo versus pool mining, they balance out. So if you have a small computer, and even if you think, if you're running a single GPU and a CPU, if you think that your GPU and CPU are powerful, but they are. You only have one CPU and one GPU. I would suggest don't solo mine, because solo mining is a come and go thing. You may hit a block, you may not hit a block every few days. Join a pool and you'll be receiving rewards on a more frequent basis, and you'll see the gains stack up in your favor in your wallet a lot faster. That's my recommendation. So for those of you who are seeing zero results on your miners, make sure that you are connected to a pool miner. So go into your settings, go into pool mining, and click that thing on here. Make sure that thing is on, and you're running in a pool there, you're mining in a pool, because that could be obviously an issue. If you are solo mining, then like I said, it's going to take a lot longer for you to hit a block. If your computer is not powerful enough, then it may be even impossible. Shoot, I just switched between the pool and solo, and I turned off the miner. Damn it. Also, if you haven't done so, I would suggest download your Tari wallet and just connect it, because it's a pretty good. So I'm connected right now, and I had a talk on Telegram saying that the mainnet is in version 2.0.1, but that's on the wallet. The actual Tari mainnet is on version 1.0.2, but the Tari wallet is a pretty good way of keeping track of your mining. And right now it shows that there are 11,324 people mining actively on the mainnet rather, and that is confirmed with by having a look at the Tari website here. It says 11,300 active miners, but so the Tari wallet gives you a much more accurate number of people, how many people are mining on the mainnet. And in regards to the release notes of or the switch over from the gems to the airdrop, people in the Discord channel have directed me here to the Tokenomics, and they said that it's here, that it's not a secret, and that there's an announcement here on when these tokens or when the gems will be converted into XT or into XTM coins. But there, I don't see anything specifically saying any references to post mainnet launch to the airdrop. There are no references to that. It just talks about the distribution, mining rewards, community, protocol infrastructure grants, and the release notes, network protocol infrastructure and grants, community contributors, participants, 365 days initial lockup, unlock schedule to monthly. So there is nothing specific that talks about the conversion of the gems to actual XTM coins. So you know, all these high and mighty jokers in Discord, everybody knows everything, like the number of messages that are sent out, and everybody gets all technical because all these people want to look like they know what the heck they're talking about. Everybody's got a piece of wisdom to share, and they're all high and mighty. When you challenge their wisdom, everybody gets all puffed up and upset. In any case, there is nothing specific that talks about the conversion of the mainnet or the testnet mining phase gems to actual XTM coins. And maybe I'm just blind, maybe I'm not finding it, but I don't see anything in here in the tokenomics, so I'm not sure what people were talking about. In any case, I was told 6 months, up to 6 months, somewhere within 6 months of the release of the launch of the mainnet, we should be seeing the gems turned into XTM coins within that time frame. But in the meantime, start mining XTM, because like I said, the rewards are pretty good right now, and they may change. This may change over time as there are more and more people joining. So over one day already, there is over 2,000 people, new miners, that joined the network, and I assume that this number is going to increase significantly over time. Maybe not, but if XTM is listed on exchanges, and if it does generate more tractions, obviously new mineable coins, you know, it takes some time. Like Meowcoin, it's still in the very early phases, and it's been around for a while, and there aren't too many miners on the network. So it depends on the profitability of the coin. It depends on how well marketing takes place, and how many exchanges it is listed on. That's all going to determine how many miners get onto the network and begin mining, and obviously that will also determine the price tag for the coin. So right now, you know, is a good time to start mining and start accumulating some of the coins. Just make sure that your electricity bill is covered, because, you know, just keep in mind that you are mining using electricity, and so that's siphoning up your that's jacking up your price tag on your electricity bills, and that's going to come in the end, and you got to ask yourself whether it's actually worth for you to run the miner against the bill that you need to pay. One more quick thing that you might want to consider: if you are not generating any rewards here, there is, if you go into mode, there is, I am right now running in eco mode. There is an option to go into ludicrous and custom. Now if you go to ludicrous, it does give you a warning, so switch to ludicrous mode. Ludicrous mode may make your system unresponsive. Please confirm you want to start mining in ludicrous mode, or Tari Universe will switch back to eco mode in 16 seconds. So if you want to try that, you could try that. I am keeping it in eco mode because, like I said, my electricity bills here are a bit high and I need my computer. So if I assume that if you start mining in ludicrous mode, if you have a computer that isn't as powerful as you would expect to go, you want it to be, then the mining process may take over the entire computer, and your CPU will be bogged down and your GPU will be bogged down with the miner. If you're not using your computer, if you're not using it on a daily basis, then give it a go. Try ludicrous. I mean, try it anyway and see how it goes. You may be able to generate a little bit more rewards using the ludicrous mode. There is also a custom mode which you can adjust. Right now, I guess my computer is using 5 out of 16 cores in GPU power, NVIDIA RTX 2 out of 8,192 threads. Wow. Okay, so I could probably totally change that. So the threshold is here. This could be the red dot. That could be the ludicrous mode. Let's see if I increase that. Increase it to, like, say, let's put it over here and see what happens. See if the yield increases. Applying changes. Okay, changes have been applied. So 1,214 out of 8,000 threads. Let's see if the GPU power is boosted. Yeah, it's gone up significantly, as has my rewards for the day. And I can hear my GPU ramping up. The fans are starting up. So this is something that you can do in the custom, but again, keep in mind that that's going to use up a little bit more electricity, which is not exactly what I want to do, I think, because our electricity bills are going to be a bit bonkers, and my wife's already complaining about high electricity bills. So yeah, I readjusted my GPU settings. I dropped them down a little bit because dropped them down to only 212 threads, because, and that's even that may be a little bit too high, I think. So my yield has jumped up here. That may even that may be a little bit too high. I don't really like the fence being this noisy. Makes me nervous. In any case, I'm going to let this run and see what the yield is on this with the increased threads on the GPU. But the GPUs do suck up a lot of energy. CPU is a little bit quieter, better on the computer, I think, and maybe a little bit better on the electricity as well, electricity costs. So, but this is how you can ramp up your mining process. So go into mode here, and you can either go to ludicrous or just do it custom adjustment and figure out and decide how many cores of your CPU you want to dedicate to the miner, as well as your GPU if you're running one, how many threads you want to dedicate to the miner. So I've dropped my GPU threads to only 30, and it still shows as my daily revenue should be at close to 700. So that's still pretty high, and the fans are still spinning pretty fast. So that's interesting. I'm gonna let this run for a little bit. That's not that big of an increase on the GPU, so that shouldn't make that much of a dent in my electricity bill, hopefully. In any case, that's it for this video. Make sure to smash up the like, subscribe to the channel. Please leave me a comment in the comment section below. If you do have any questions, leave them in the comment section below. I answer my questions. I check messages and answer them very quickly. I usually do it on a regular basis every day, several times a day pretty much. So if you do have any questions, drop them below. If you do have any comments, suggestions, also drop them below the video. I'll be on top of it in a jiff. And make sure to come back tomorrow on a Friday. Let's see what the results will be on Friday. Maybe it's going to be another Tari video. We'll have a look at the yields for my updated threads on the GPU. Remember, like, subscribe, pick up a Descend wallet, that one. All those links are below the video, and I will see you in another video tomorrow. Peace. Have a fantastic Thursday.